Welcome back to Sikistan. Today's video is brought to you by the merchandise drop number 4, which will be happening next week. These are the Sika Strength Training Pants 2.0. So these are a little bit update from the previous version. These will be released on a limited availability for the pants alongside graphic t-shirts, which will be available for pre-order. You've seen the graphic t-shirts, there's 2 of them available. This will be happening next week. Stay tuned on our YouTube and our Facebook group and our Instagram when things go live. So you might have seen from the title that I have a new weightlifting coach. Now, you probably already know if you read my Substack or if you follow me on Instagram who my new weightlifting coach is. I'm coming into my 11th year of weightlifting. Typically, you'll see heavyweights peaking after 15 to 17 years, depending on kind of what environment they're in and what kind of their progression has been to this point. And I'm at a point in my training where I am ready for a new coach. Now, so far, I've had 2 very good coaches. The first coach I had was Cathal Bird. He is and was a very prolific Irish weightlifter. He coached me from 60 kilo snatch and 80 kilo snatch to 115 kilo snatch and 125 after about 14 to 18 months, where I went to the European Juniors in 2013. From European Juniors, I coached myself all the way to 150 kilo snatch and 185 kilo clean and jerk. Following that, I got some coaching for a couple of months from my good friend Gabriel Sincrean, friend of Sikistan, of course. As you well know, Gabriel coached me to 151 kilo snatch, so you get over that 150 kilo barrier, and then shortly after I finished coaching with Gabriel, I clean and jerked 190.
Yes, come on.
Now, that 190 was no doubt as a result of a lot of assistance work from Gabriel. It was literally a few weeks later, so largely in part to his tutelage, and I've learned and still do learn a lot from Gabriel. From there, I coached myself to 155 kilo snatch and still at that 190 kilo clean and jerk. Now, you're probably wondering, just tell us who's your new coach. So my new coach is Anton Plesnoy. So you probably already know that from my Instagram if you follow me. So Anton Plesnoy is the 2020 96 kilo bronze medalist, and he is the 2019 World Weightlifting Championships 96 kilo bronze medalist also. Anton Plesnoy competed for the Republic of Georgia and is formerly of the Ukraine, and now he is back in Ukraine at the moment. There's 3 different reasons why I wanted a weightlifting coach at this stage of my weightlifting career. Number 1 is that objectively, people just do better with coaches. All of the greatest athletes throughout history, the vast majority, I should say, before someone types it, the vast majority of the best athletes across all sports, not just weightlifting, but specifically weightlifting, have had great coaches. You know, through a lot of sports, we hear as much about these great coaches as we do about these great athletes, and that's largely in part because those athletes are governed and managed by these very intelligent, very adept athletes. You know, we've people, literally Ivan Abajev all the way in jiu-jitsu, so like John Danner currently. These are people who produce athletes and are skilled at producing good athletes. In the same way that an athlete is skilled at producing and doing a lift or doing a sport, these coaches are just as skilled at this. And objectively, it's just very hard to be objective about your own training to 100% certainty, or to be objective about your training in a way that allows for that most amount of progress. The vast majority of people just make better progress, and we say this a lot, and I, from myself, am no different from that. So I want to maximize my progress in weightlifting, and getting a coach is one of the most important ways, especially in weightlifting, especially for the numbers that I want to hit, that I need to maximize that progress via a coach. So that's reason number 1. I want to be better, and having a coach is a large part of that reason. Which brings us on to point number 2. I just want a weightlifting coach. You might say, only you've coached yourself quite well so far into quite big numbers. And you might say, are you not kind of worried about someone else taking over, or other athletes might have that kind of fear? But honestly, I really enjoy the idea of having a coach. I like the idea of letting go of control in that regard. I don't care how I get there. I care that I get there. I enjoy training. I know I'll enjoy whatever training I'm doing. I don't particularly care if it's my exact plan or if it's someone else's. As long as I get to that end point or those numbers, I am very happy in that regards. There's also a huge amount of joy in following someone else's program, because it removes a lot of that guesswork, and it removes a lot of the idea of, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? Am I doing the right variations? Am I doing too much squatting? Is my squatting enough? Simply having someone else's plan that you trust, of course, which is very important, just following that plan to that destination for me is hugely enjoyable. I have no ego in regards to learning. I don't think I'd have coached myself that far if I did have an ego. I got a lot of help from a lot of different people, as you've seen over the years, and I have no doubt this will keep pushing me further. And I think there's a huge enjoyment just following that path, following that program. Load of you guys, thousands of you have done our programs and done very well out of them. And for me, that's no different. I want to have a scenario where someone just tells me exactly what to do and I do those sessions to the best of my ability. And that is something I really enjoy. Obviously enjoy coaching myself, but there's a lot of pressure in regards to that. And while some people might enjoy the independence of that, and I enjoy doing a lot of different things in other kind of independent areas, but when it comes to this, the progress to me is more important than my kind of own ego in regards to my coaching. So I really like the idea of doing someone else's program, just doing the sessions, doing what they tell me is wrong. I love that I'm being told what's wrong. I love that it's been highlighted to me in no uncertain manners. For example, Anton said to me the last day, he was like, quad's very strong. And I was like, yep. And then he said back, and this is the face he made. Like this. So I love that. I love just being told, this is what's wrong. This is what you need to fix. This is what you need to do. I love that idea of just getting after that and having those issues highlighted. So that's part of it too, is just not only do I think being coach will make me better, but I also really enjoy that process as much as I enjoy training myself. Then for the third reason, it's a kind of a professional development reason. So Anton has lifted in the Ukrainian system and he came up under that system. He also has lifted big numbers himself. He also lifted in one of the best countries of weightlifting at the moment, who's producing one of the best weightlifters ever, the Republic of Georgia. And he spent a long time in both of these countries, and he's a huge amount of knowledge that is independent to both of these countries. And while we can guess largely at those systems, there's a lot of things similar. There is still some very interesting nuances and smaller programming details and technical nuances that I think are super valuable for me as an athlete and a coach professionally, that I push my development further. It's how you learn things. There's kind of 3 different ways you learn as a coach: theoretical, experience, and then talking to other people. So theoretical course is reading papers and reading books. Talking to other coaches is going and asking them and having conversations with them. And then the other one is experience and delving into it. So I've talked to Anton about training, as you've seen from some of the videos, and I could keep talking to him. Sure, he's a very helpful guy. But if you really want to get the experience and the in-depth knowledge of how some stuff is done, because there's multiple ways of skinning the cat, especially when it comes to programming, that doing those programs is, and just doing those sessions and peeking through it and doing it for a long period of time and getting coached by someone who knows it well, is super beneficial and will help me learn a lot. Now, the professional development, while very important to me as a business owner and as a coach and an athlete, wouldn't be just enough for me to get coached by someone else. But in conjunction with the first 2 reasons, it makes for a great example of, or makes for a great kind of ingredients, or makes for a great list of ingredients to put me in a scenario where I'm in a good situation. Now, some of you are probably asking, like, why didn't you get coached by Gabriel again? And I would just say, when I started getting coached by Gabriel, we weren't very good friends. And now I'm in a scenario where I'm very good friends with Gabriel. And getting coached by someone, of course, you can become friends with them after you become coached. As a lot of you know, you're very friendly with your coach and you have a good time with them. But I think it's important to start that dynamic where someone is very objective and is willing to put you in where you need to be, not so much kind of taking into regard how you feel or what you think you might like, but they'll be a little bit more strict on what you need to do. And given the other reasons as well, that's why I wanted Anton. Anton is someone who's lifting. He's phenomenal and he lifts in a very interesting way, and his technical prowess looks fantastic. From talking to him, I had a feeling that he would be a good coach. And I have to say, given it's only been a few weeks, I'm very, very happy with it. Anton coaches people like I coach people's technique. You know, every single detail is picked up on. We work on everything. We're always looking for technical proficiency, maximum technique. Every session we can improve on something. That's what I wanted for my technique. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, your technique is pretty good already, but I'm of the opinion that it can always be better and always more proficient. And I'm thoroughly enjoying how much emphasis Anton puts on that every session. He's always trying to focus in on things, which is fantastic. I'm really pleased with Anton's coaching so far. And from a business point of view, the service is perfect. Very happy with it. I get the sessions, I do them, we send the videos, see some live sessions. Very happy with all that. And I'm very interested to see where it goes in regards to training. Now, just a quick training update for, I suppose some of you might be wondering, or kind of where the training vlog's gone, etc, etc. So the training vlogs will be back next week. Just a real quick synopsis of where I'm at with my training, or what the last few months or year or so has looked like. Towards the end of last year, I needed to take some downtime for a couple of months in regards to weightlifting, and as you know, I picked up jiu-jitsu for a little bit. I had some injuries from weightlifting, not injuries in terms of catastrophic acute injuries, they were just wear and tear, and I needed some downtime because I had some kind of overuse injuries from weightlifting that required some time to a little bit of downtime as I pushed hard for a good couple of months in a row. Unfortunately, at the start of this year, as you know, I ruptured a tendon in my finger, which meant I couldn't do any clean and jerks for about 3.5 months or 3 months. And I could do a little bit of snatching. So I spent more time doing jiu-jitsu than I particularly wanted to do, and I wanted to get back to weightlifting sooner, but that is how the dice fell, or how the cookie crumbled. I started the weightlifting block this year in about May. I started with a 0 clean and jerk and a 90 kilo snatch, and I finished the training block just at the start of August, as you've seen, with a 143 kilo snatch and a 170 clean and jerk. So not bad progress for June, July and August, so about 3.5 months. After that, and recently I just pushed my squat up a little bit more to get it back to some good numbers. So I got back to 260, then I focused on jiu-jitsu for a little bit of period. I maintained my weightlifting this time because I didn't have any injury, so I was able to do some consistent weightlifting sessions, like once every week I do some snatch and clean and jerk, just maintain familiarity, and I kept squatting away consistently even as I was cutting weight. I'm still on a little bit of downtime because obviously a big mistake I've made before is in my maintenance phases of weightlifting between big training blocks was I pushed too hard. It was too easy to maintain big numbers. It was too novel to think, oh look, I'm only training 3 times a week and I can still snatch 140, no problem, or clean jerk 170. And that is how you get a lot of overuse injuries, because when you go back into a training block, you're already under high level fatigue. You didn't gain a lot by maintaining that high levels of weightlifting, and then you end up injuring yourself because you start that volume again, but you're already still fatigued and you didn't allow yourself to recover fully. So it's something I'm trying to make sure that I'm not doing at the moment. So currently doing 2 sessions of weightlifting. I'm trying to do at least 3 sessions of jiu-jitsu at the moment, and then 1 to 2 extra bodybuilding sessions, because I am quite lean at the moment. I'm about 100 kilos down from 105 probably during the summer, and I want to just be as kind of lean as possible after I start kind of weightlifting fully or primarily again in late December. So I want to gain some weight into that and recomp. You might have seen Dara's bodyweight paradox video. So I just want to make sure I'm in the best condition. So when I'm 105, I'm at a leaner body fat than I would have been previously at 105 kilos. So it's more productive. So I have more muscle tissue and I still have better mobility than if I have a little bit of extra padding in regards to that kind of extra weight. So enjoying training at the moment, getting used to Anton's style of training. He wants to work a lot on my pull. My back is not strong enough compared to my legs, and that is Anton's prerogative at the moment. And I'm enjoying getting the technical feedback, of course, but it's interesting small things like getting the small things are, it's like getting bodybuilding exercises and our assistance work. You know, obviously I give all our athletes that, you know, if you're in the programs, people get a lot of that stuff, and they it's funny, I expect them to do that, and I'm getting the same stuff now, and I have to go do 4 sets of 12 V-ups and stuff. And it's not that I didn't do them before, but you just never, that's one of those examples where you just never do quite enough. So I'm enjoying the bodybuilding stuff and things to do alongside obviously the main sessions. Anton sessions are tough. Training vlogs will return next week. I know some of you really enjoy watching those, as I enjoy watching other people's training vlogs. So we'll be back with those next week, and you'll see what those sessions look like. And thanks for watching the video. Just a quick update as well for people. I know a lot of you are waiting on Weightlifting 2.0 as we're changing the weightlifting blocks at the moment, the system. They're moving from 4-week blocks to 12-week blocks, where they start and peak at the end of that 12-week block. So you know when you start our training blocks, you'll know I'm peak at the end of this and I'm going for big numbers, and you can kind of frame out your training, because it's hard for people to frame out their training for 7-8 months in a row. Very understandable. So you want to update the product to make sure we're fitting, while give you guys the best progress, but also fitting kind of your reality of your situation. You know, we can program for ideal stuff, but we're hoping this will be a better scenario. So look forward to that, which should be released in November. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you have any comments or any questions, let me know. And if you have any comments as the training vlogs go on, or anything about Anton's stuff, I'll try and explain them as best as possible in those videos. Thanks for watching, guys.